The universe is huge, so much so that many say it's just infinite. That's why a lot of people think it's almost impossible that we're alone in the universe. Some are faithful believers that there's life in many other places besides Earth. For years, different strange objects have been found in excavations, and these objects make us believe that aliens really do exist and that they may have visited Earth on more than one occasion in the past. That's why today we're going to show you this countdown of 5 alien objects found beneath the Earth. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. Dropa stones. The first of these strange findings takes us to China, where the mysterious Dropa stones were discovered in the 1930s. In 1938, in the high mountains of Bayan Karaula, near the borders of China and Tibet, a team of archaeologists led by Qi Puite, an archaeology professor at the University of Beijing, were conducting a routine investigation. Here, they found something very surprising. They found some very well-aligned and organized tombs that contained the skeletons of what supposedly must have been a race of human beings. At first glance, they seemed to have thin bodies and large, overdeveloped heads. Does that description sound even remotely familiar? Yep, we're talking about aliens. But they didn't want to take that for granted, so at first it was thought that the caves had been the home of an unknown primate species. But as the investigation continued, the theory of primates faded away. While studying the skeletons, one of the team members found a kind of stone disc buried in the dust on the floor of the cave. The disc seemed to be apparently from the quote-unquote Stone Age. According to researchers, the disc had a hole in the center with a spiral shape and a thin line that continued spiraling, along with some strange characters written on it. No one was able to understand the meaning of its message. The disc was labeled and filed among other findings in the area. For more than 20 years, many experts in Beijing tried to decipher the text on the disc with no success. Finally, Dr. Sum Nui managed to decipher the code of the talking grooves. In 1965, 716 more discs were found in the same caves, and Beijing's academic community forbade publishing the findings. Pretty strange, isn't it? The story has it that a kind of space probe arrived at the Sierra Baya Karaula, manned by inhabitants of another planet. Their peaceful intentions had been misinterpreted by the inhabitants of the area. Many of them had been persecuted and killed by members of the Ham tribe, who lived in the neighboring caves. The strangers called themselves the Dropa tribe, and supposedly they had come down from the sky in their ship, but they crashed against the mountains and weren't able to rebuild another one. The inhabitants of the area were afraid of their strange appearance, so they subsequently murdered them. The only thing that this extraterrestrial species left behind were the discs that until today continue being a mystery. Many say they're a fraud, but others say that they're the legacy left on Earth by these visitors. The question is, what do you think? Number 4. Alien cell phone. Anyone who believes in aliens knows that they are considered superior beings and their technology is much more advanced than ours. And this next finding is a sign that this might very well be true. Cell phones first appeared in 1973, and from that point on, they have not only evolved in their functions, but also in the level of dependence that we as humans have on them. Let's be honest, we can't imagine going anywhere, even to the corner store, without our cell phones. But that brilliant invention is only 45 years old. Aliens, however, left us a copy over 800 years ago. Some archaeologists who were digging in some ruins in Austria found a strange object that looked a lot like one of the first cell phones that we know of. As shown in the images, the object appears to be a black cell phone with 9 keys containing inscriptions similar to the ancient Sumerian cuneiform script. This is more than weird. It's an extremely surprising finding and could be evidence of aliens having visited Earth many years ago. The conspiracy website To the Death Media wrote that during archaeological excavations in Salzburg, Austria, investigators dug up a mysterious 13th century artifact with cuneiform script resembling a cell phone. This type of writing is typically found in modern Iran or Iraq, ancient Mesopotamia. What a device like this with cuneiform writing is doing in Austria is something that nobody is able to fully understand or explain. Unfortunately, the information is limited. We can't explain what it is, whether or not it is real, but it has caught our attention and we would love to know more about it. Doesn't it seem suspicious to you that every time something so impressive is found, people also try to hide it? There are always those who say that everything's a made-up story of alien fans, but something like this is hard to ignore. Let's be honest, for so many years, a device was buried in the earth and it has an undeniable resemblance to the first cell phone. 800 years ago, we didn't even imagine having a landline phone, much less a cell phone. Just like today, we can't imagine having ships that fly at the speed of light. Aliens are not only one step ahead of us, but they also don't get tired of giving us signs which affirm that. Number 3. Giant UFO in Russia. Let's talk about UFOs. Many say they've seen them in the sky, like flashes that aren't well distinguished. And that's exactly the reason why there are so many doubts on their actual relationship with aliens. But what we are about to show you leaves no doubt to this end. And what you're going to begin doubting is if we are really alone in this big old universe. More than one person has been called crazy on this, but you'll see that that's not the case. In 2017, an expedition of the Russian ufology and cryptozoology group Kosmopoisk, directed by Vadim Chernobrov, discovered a mysterious disk near Volgograd on September 9th. Chernobrov said that similar disks appeared in the region and some are more than 1 meter in diameter. Chernobrov said his team found a 2-meter disk southwest of Siberia, although the largest disk found is about 4 meters. We've already found a dozen of these disks with no more than 1 meter in diameter, he said. However, he claims the 4-meter disk is really unique. The nature of the disk remains a mystery, but ufologists who examined the mysterious objects reported that there are certain parts of a metal known as tungsten, which is quite strange indeed. They also concluded the disk could be 1 million years old. Can you imagine that? A 1,000,000-year-old disk. But the most important thing here is the theory that says part of the stone disk is made of tungsten. Do you know why? Because it reinforces the idea that the disk is a product of alien technology. The reason for this thinking is that tungsten has appeared in other places where UFOs allegedly crash. Even experts on space anomalies have also seen stone disks on Mars in the images published by NASA itself. So the next time someone tells you they see a UFO, don't look at them as if they're crazy. Number 2. Alien fossils. A group of scientists in Sri Lanka may have one of the most strongest findings to claim that there is extraterrestrial life. In a detailed document published in the Journal of Cosmology, Chandra Wickramasinghe claims to have found solid evidence that life exists throughout the universe. All of this is thanks to his team's research, who studied the remains of a large meteorite that fell near the Sri Lankan village of Polonnaruwa on December 29, 2013. Wickramasinghe is the director of the Buckingham Astrobiology Center at the University of Buckingham in the United Kingdom. He and his colleagues found something very interesting, a kind of meteorite which had biological material and may be the ultimate proof that there's extraterrestrial life, or rather, that the entire universe is full of living beings. Wickramasinghe and the English astronomer Sir Fred Hoyle co-developed a theory known as panspermia, which suggests that life exists throughout the universe and is distributed by asteroids and meteorites. In this meteorite, the researchers found that there were fossilized algae, which for the researchers is irrefutable proof that extraterrestrial life exists. The British scientists concluded that the fossilized algae still on the meteorite were quite similar to several terrestrial fossils of microorganisms dating back 55 million years ago. These findings show human life began outside our planet, said the professor. We are all extraterrestrial, and we share cosmic ancestry. Every time a new planetary system is formed, a few surviving microbes go to comets, where they multiply themselves and subsequently reach other planets and seed life. Of course, many believe that the algae on the meteorite reached the meteorite when it hit Earth. Number 1. The extraterrestrial sphere. We've reached the top of our list with one of the most mysterious objects. The Betz sphere, or the Betz orb, is an object that has never been fully explained by experts, although there are innumerable theories that have been proposed. But the strongest one is that this strange object has an extraterrestrial origin. The sphere was discovered in 1974 when Terry Matthew Betz, a medical student, found the object after a large fire had destroyed part of a nearby forest near his house in Jacksonville. The object, approximately 20 centimeters in diameter, was in perfect condition and it had a mysterious triangle drawn on its surface. The Betts family came to the conclusion that it was probably the remains of a satellite or some type of military equipment. However, there was no crater caused by the impact or any other sign of damage to the environment. There was only a massive fire. Then, strange things began to occur. According to family reports, the metallic spear seemed to react to certain musical notes, almost like it was alive. Very curious, isn't it? But the strange things don't end there. The family also said their dog behaved very oddly when he was near the object, as if the dog could hear or perceive something they didn't. As we know, animals have much more acute senses than humans. Maybe this pooch knew perfectly well that the sphere was not normal. As if all of this wasn't weird enough, the family reported that if the orb was placed on the ground and pushed, it changed its direction by itself and then returned to its starting point. How strange is that? Besides, they could also hear a strange sound coming from inside the sphere. All of these statements were corroborated by a journalist from the Tampa Bay Times. However, the media was not the only group interested in the sphere. It is said that the United States Navy and NASA were very interested when the sphere was found. And who wouldn't be? At first, the family refused to give it up, but the object was so strange they ended up delivering it to the government so that it could be analyzed. Perplexed by its composition and features, experts concluded that this unusual ball was a magnetic sphere sensitive to magnetic fields, as demonstrated by numerous sound emissions and mechanical stimulation. It was passive and active at the same time, almost as if it were an extraterrestrial probe.
Alright, Top Fivers, if you haven't already, make sure to visit our official website, thefinestpost.com, for the best and most interesting articles you will ever see. If you enjoy our videos, you will definitely love what we have there too. There will be a link on the screen and a link in the description to our website, so make sure to come visit. See you there. Or you can go to our latest video popping up on screen right now. Come on, click it. You know you want to. Oh, and while you're here, subscribe also. Heard it gives you superpowers. Anyway, see you soon.